Hi, everybody. This is Chris,
This is Matt.
and today we're going to be talking about 2017 and some Texas Instruments games, but mostly 2017.
Yeah, we're going to go over our awards for the best and worst
Yep.
of the games that we played this year. It
Hmm.
was an illustrious list, so it should be a good dialogue, I
Yeah.
hope.
I think it'll be good. And, we should talk a little bit about some of the other stuff that happened this year because this year was sort of unexpected for us in this channel. We're up to 92 subscribers, which I know isn't, we're not. We're not like getting rich or anything off that, but considering it is 90 more subscribers than I thought we'd get, um,
Hmm.
I'm kind of impressed. And we had a couple interviews this year, which I'm hoping we do more of, but don't count on it to be a regular segment. We're going to kind of focus on when we find someone we want to talk to or we're interested in. Um,
Yeah, I think the reviews were probably my favorite thing that we did, just because the people that we interviewed I thought were just like super interesting and like funny and
yeah.
uh, real passionate people. I love talking to people who are passionate about stuff.
Right. And I hope that when we do this sort of thing, we can find people who want to go deep and talk technical about their stuff. I'm not interested in being a like a commercial. I don't want to
Hmm.
be a commercial for their stuff, but I do want them to get passionate and really, just like Mark talking about his Lightning script or
Yeah.
Chris talking about how the novel was written or the ins and outs of getting the IP. I really want something that'll let us dig deep. And if you are somebody who's got an old 20-year-old game and wants to come on and talk about how it got there or something, I guess drop me a line and understand that we're both computer people, we're both developers, and um,
Yeah.
we're willing to
We're
go deep.
curious. We
Yeah,
want to
we're
know.
we're
Yeah, we
curious,
want
and
to
we're
know.
curious on a technical level, not just a fun gameplay level.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. We're not super into fun.
no, screw fun.
We're into memory management. You notice that? Like that's always the thing that impresses us the most. Like they did this with so little memory.
Well, because I don't think anyone really with the computers we're using today can 100% grasp how little memory it is that they did all this stuff in. The picture I have up right now that has Matt and Chris talk about and then like all the games and stuff we covered this year,
Mhm.
that takes more memory than some of these early computer systems had completely. This image would not fit on those systems.
Yeah, yeah. It's amazing. Like I support a lot of Java, and man, people who write Java don't often even think about
Oh
memory.
God,
It's
no.
like so far removed from their thought process.
Right.
So it's really interesting to like
Yeah.
play something and where you know that they had like nothing to work with. I,
Hmm.
I find that always really interesting.
I find that really interesting. I'm like going through and working on some like machine language Commodore stuff right now just because I used to do that as a kid and it's been a long time and I forgot how interesting it is that you're actually like you're not storing stuff in variables as much as you're pushing and pulling it out of memory registers. And that
Hmm.
is just a completely different way to think about computers and really, if you're interested in computers and you're interested in old games and you're interested in programming, uh, there's enough resources for it out there. Go take a look and find some stuff and dig into that, even if you just dabble for a little bit and get some characters on the screen just to see what it was like
Hmm.
back then to code with those constraints and code in that mindset. And then look at these old games with a brand new appreciation of exactly how challenging it was to make it
Yeah, when
work.
I every time I think about it, I feel like an asshole for the little things that annoy me about these old games because it's like they did so much with so little, and I'm like,
Waiting
like
for
Beaver.
dawn.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
Well,
I do too, but I mean, the thing is, other games got it right. So,
hmm.
you know,
I think though Waiting for Dawn was right, but that's a whole nother. That's after we talked to Chris, I was like, oh yeah, he's
no,
he's right.
that's why I brought it up because it was a really good point. Um, on the Waiting for Dawn and the uh, Lords of Midnight stuff, I just want to take a moment and once again talk about how that game surprised me, and I'm going to take it not as the game anymore, but as the community.
Right.
Um,
Right.
really surprised at that. Surprised that that is our fastest growing video. Auto Duel's still way up there for some reason.
I'm still not over that. So let's
moving on, moving on.
that was last year, so we'll just skip that. But yeah.
But like,
And the thing about that community is that everyone in that community has been so nice, and we weren't always super kind and understanding of that game, and there were some things that we kind of got wrong, but no one was like a jerk about it because I mean I was really surprised by that because when people hold something really dear, I think a lot of times they're very sensitive to criticism, but everyone in that community was like so nice and like commented on the video. I appreciated that a
and
lot.
coming up with other like ZX Spectrum games for us to look into, and just what a great community. And I don't mean to like drag them into an internet beef, but I expected Ultimas to be our bigger game, and no. In terms of community turnout and support and watching and commenting, yeah, Ultima community, you got some stepping up to do, is all I'm saying. And I come from you. I'm I'm an Ultimate Dragon. I mean, that was my home for many years, but
I think it's because Ultima's been done and done and done, and everyone has played it and loved it. But Lords of Midnight is more obscure. I think it was like having a light shined on it was really probably quite refreshing for the people that love that game.
Yeah. So if you've got a game you want a light shined on, please let us know. We'd love to shine some light on some more games like that, and get some more attention for things that deserve it and maybe never got it.
Yeah, we've like I've got more blind spots than you because I came into gaming a little later. But I think we both probably have some serious,
well, most of the
great games tucked away that we just never,
anything from Britain, unless it's a Mastertronic game. I played a lot of the Mastertronic games because they came over to the Commodore. But a lot of the British games I just missed until Bullfrog. Bullfrog brought a lot over, and that was great. But if you think, we keep talking about doing special episodes, and maybe British gaming is a special episode we should do, because we've got Bullfrog from over there. I'm trying to think of it, but the guys who did GTA were originally from over there. Chris Roberts and Star Citizen basically came from over there. Elite, Firebird, for those of you who remember some old Commodore games. Psygnosis. Really top-end, top-shelf games that we think back to the 80s and 90s that were benchmark pivotal games. Didn't come from the U.S. and didn't come from Japan, which is usually what most people think, like, oh, well, it was a Nintendo. I'm like, no, like, there's a really trove of games sitting on the other side of the ocean that we need to dig into more, and I need to know more about the history to kind of piece together the lineage of some of these things.
Yeah, that would be a good special episode to do. Have you ever considered doing an extra special episode where we struggle with some sensitive topic, like hair loss or something that
I feel like every episode we deal with my own insecurities, so
that's true.
Every episode is extra special to me.
Just trot these right out.
No, there are, but while we're bringing up extra episodes, there is one I got asked to do because I mentioned I was going to do it and sort of never got back to doing it. And my problem is I don't know what questions people would have about it to really do it, and that's the mapping episode. Old school mapping, I think, is something that would be interesting to kind of dig into for people, and maybe not, but we did have somebody ask me to do the episode. So if you are interested in that, make a comment below and let me know what you want to know about it and what you'd like to see done. Because I'd like to do something with that.
Yeah, like my I've noticed that every time you make a map, it looks awesome, and every time I make a map, it looks just like a mess. So I'd be kind of interested in that, and like I get distracted and I forget where I am. Especially when you're doing like
Mhm.
first person dungeon mapping, it's real easy to get turned around. So
It's really easy to get turned around. You
like an order of operations thing where you like step,
mhm,
draw it, and what
right.
symbols to use. But anyway, we don't need to go
Yeah.
too far down that road.
I'm just saying if viewers have something they want to talk about, pop it below. Um, if you want me to dig into anything other than just playing the game, something to do between our monthly episodes, I guess throw something like that at me too. I'm toying with converting Parsec from the Texas Instruments into a Commodore game to just practice the machine language. Maybe I'll do that as sort of some recordings. So let me know what you think, what you'd want to see, and maybe we'll try some other stuff here this year. We've talked about doing barbarian movies as a review situation, maybe
Hmm.
something like that. So we're going to keep trying stuff with the channel. We're at least once a month going to review a game, discuss a game, something.
Do you think barbarian movies might be a little esoteric, though?
I,
Do you think there's a community of people who want to watch two
82
aging nerds
aging
talk
nerds
about
talk about 80s barbarian movies.
Conan versus Beastmaster?
I didn't think there was a community that would want to watch two aging nerds talk about video games from the late 80s, early 90s, but
There's 90 of them, I guess.
this so um and the last thing I'll kind of say on our channel before we get onto the Texas Instruments thing is I normally don't say this on anything, but it means a ton to us every time we see a comment or a like or a share or anything else. So I mean, if you want to support the channel right now, the best way you can do is just do some of that. It keeps us energized, keeps us wanting to do it, and we'll keep coming back as long as people are interested and we don't run out of steam.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
thank you everyone
yeah,
who's watched and
yeah,
all that. So we do appreciate it.
we do, and we take your your input seriously. And next year we've kind of got it all mapped out. Things are subject to change based on our moods and stuff, but of the next 10 games we've got out, 5 of them are from you, are suggestions from you. We space stuff out because I'm bringing this up because somebody made a comment about it, about, these aren't CRPGs, but you'll still might like them. We don't want to just do role playing games, it will burn us out. We have to switch it up. Like if you look at the list we've got here under us right now, we've got Dig and Loom and Fantasy and Ultima and Lords of Midnight and Wizardry. We also have Pirates and Master of Orion and Mech Warrior 2. And last year we had X-Wing, and we're
Hmm.
doing some Texas Instruments games. The only real rule we have is 20 years old. We want something old. We want something
Hmm.
that's from far back. Uh, we do have 100 games on our list already that we haven't gotten to yet. So if you don't get to yours right away, don't take it personally. It is on our list. We are getting to it. We are digging through. But that's that. All right. Should we talk about Texas Instruments for a little bit here?
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Got it up there.
I got it up there. I got the
Before you
text.
start, I'd like to just note that my shirt matches
Oh,
the color.
you went
That's
color
intentional.
coordinated today. That
Yep.
that's
I went out
sexy.
and bought this shirt that costed a lot of money so I could match the TI home computer
used
screen.
used your YouTube monies to
Yep,
just for this bit.
that's right. Yep, because this channel's for the children.
This channel's for the kids.
They, they deserve it.
All right. There are a bunch of games on Texas Instruments, and there are some that are more interesting than others. There's a
Yes.
couple that I probably would have liked to talk more about this time, but didn't. Like Chisholm Trail's interesting, and Tombstone City's interesting, and Munchman's a take on Pac-Man.
Hmm.
TI Invaders is an interesting take on Space Invaders. There are some that if you find the extra ROMs laying around out there, you can figure out how to load into the emulator, um, that are weird. There's
Mhm.
one called Demon Attack, which is fantastic, and it's just balls out weirdness. Uh, so there's those that we just felt like we didn't have enough meat to really talk about them. We picked three small ones: Alpiner, Hunt the Wumpus, and Parsec, that are probably your cornerstone TI games. There's one that's missing, and that's Tunnels of Doom. Tunnels of Doom is getting its own episode. It's a fantastic game. It deserves its own attention. But it's too much. It's too much for us to get in this little snippet before we get into awards. So I didn't want to do that. You want to talk
Yeah.
about Alpiner for a second? I want to grab something here.
Yeah. So Alpiner is a game where you climb up a mountain and shit falls on you, and that's pretty much it. Uh, it's a pretty good time. You can choose the mountain that you climb. I think they're all pretty much
Well,
hold the same challenges.
I don't
Am
think you can pick the one you climb.
Oh, right. They're like
Yeah, it's
levels.
just the order. Yeah.
But this is basically it. So you're moving around. There's a timer, I think, for some reason. I was never clear on that.
Was there a timer?
I think
didn't-
so. Like, I don't think you can just sit there on the mountain, can you?
Yeah, you can.
Do you have
No
to
rush.
keep moving forward?
No. You can even go back.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, I played Alpiner really aggressively then.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Huh. Well, why is it hard then?
It gets trickier the higher you get up. It's mostly the falling rocks. Falling rocks are
Oh,
kind of a
right.
pain in the ass.
Yeah.
The main strategy is to do what I'm doing here, which is sort of sit on the side so you can go either way when the falling rocks come. If you get hit, you're going to fall down a certain amount. If you hit something else while you're falling, you go all the way down and lose a life.
hmm
There's things like skunks and snakes and stuff like that. Gun to my head, I can't tell you why I have fun playing this game.
Yeah, it has a certain quality about it that makes it like kind of fun. It reminded me a little bit of just like one of those pole position or like those. Remember that Atari game where you're just like a car and you're dodging the shit that comes at you?
Yeah.
There's so many games like that, but I think of them, Alpiner's pretty high up on my list just because it's got a weirdness about it that I really like this skunk or the shit's on you or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's fun. It's a good time.
Yeah.
I sat down with my son. My son and I played Alpiner. We didn't take it seriously,
Nope, shouldn't.
and it was a good time. I mean, what else can you say about it?
I remember it being one of the things me and my friend Chris played. I had a friend named Chris. That's how we met, actually, is we both had the same name. And we played a ton of this game. Mostly because Tunnels of Doom, and this is what I was going to get, because I have Tunnels of Doom. I don't have a Texas Instruments, but Tunnels of Doom came on cartridge and cassette for this. And like we would, if we wanted to play Tunnels of Doom, we would start it loading, go outside and play for half an hour, and come back in to finish it loading. You had to commit to that game. That was a game. Now on the emulator, you can just sit down and play. And if you're interested in this system or any of these old games, do not wait for us to get to this game. Go play Tunnels of Doom. It does some fascinating things. I'm going to stop talking about it now because I'll just get lost in it forever.
Yeah. Well, I think it's natural because, like we said, there's really not much to Alpiner.
No. Occasionally, the animals have little targets on them. You can get bonus points if you can put your hand on the target without hitting the animal.
No way, really? I didn't notice that.
Yeah. And the last level has an abominable snowman you got to get by.
Yeah, there's some great art. Like the dude, your Alpiner dude, is just ugly as hell. He's
Yeah.
an ugly, weird looking dude with like, I don't know what's going on with his face, his chin, and his nose. It's like I think something happened to him.
Well, I think this is one of the interesting things about the old systems. Like, if you showed me Alpiner or Parsec or Hunt the Wumpus and didn't tell me what system they were on and I had never seen the game before, I could tell you this was a Texas Instruments game. You showed me like the fantasy screenshots, I could tell you whether it was Commodore, Apple II, We look at Lords of Midnight again. I look at that and I'm like, oh, that's a ZX Spectrum game. All these old systems really had a fingerprint in their graphics as to what they were,
Hmm.
and Alpiner's no different. I enjoy the Texas Instruments look. I also understand why this was never going anywhere. This was
Yeah.
this was
I mean,
not going to be the main game system.
it's not spritey at
No,
all. It
no.
looks drawn, like, which is charming. Like, I like that.
Yeah,
It's not just the same thing barfed out over and over again. I mean, it is
it
to a
is.
degree, but your guy's big, you
Yeah,
know.
it's simultaneously smoother and blockier.
Hmm.
So, all right, let me.
That's that mattress,
That's
man. I mean, there ain't much else to talk about. Why
no.
did I think there was a timer though?
I don't
Huh,
know.
I don't know. So now what are we playing?
So we're gonna do some Hunt the Wumpus here.
Okay, Hunt the Wumpus was my favorite of the TI games that we played this month.
No doubt.
Uh, it I love the mood of
The
the
mood.
game. I love the Wumpus as a nemesis, uh, and I love the weird layouts of the maps. Like
Hmm.
there's like these winding tunnels. There's bats and slime holes and all kinds of things. Uh, how
For
would you
some reason,
describe?
you only brought one arrow.
Yeah,
Uh,
right.
it's a better version of Minesweeper. Like
Hmm.
it is a great little. Like you're probably gonna watch a couple games get played here while we talk about it because it's just that fast to play a game.
Hmm.
Um, and I did one of the, like I did a remake of Hunt the Wumpus myself when I was learning Unity.
Hmm.
I didn't capture the charm. Like it's weird that you change, and it's another one of those things where you change too much about this game, and you're gonna lose the charm of it.
Hmm.
Um, oh, I didn't. I gotta look this guy up.
The thing that I liked about it, again, my son and I played this. Uh, you can go like hardcore logic Minesweeper style on this game, or you can just kind of like feel it out, you know, because they go fast. You're like, well, there's a lot of red dots. The Wumpus might feels like
Hmm.
he's going to be here. I'm going to take a shot at him, and if you hit him with
Yep,
your one arrow,
your one
or if
arrow.
you fall in the pit like an idiot,
Yep, only idiots fall in pits.
I know I never did.
Yep. Well, and there's a couple game modes here. So there's blindfolded, which lets you not remember the map. Like you're watching me auto map it. Um, then there's express, so all those little twisty tunnels, you just go to the far side of them. You don't get to like snake your way through and see where they actually come out. You just shoot all the way through. And then a
Hmm.
mode where it does both. In addition to each of the difficulties determines how many pits you're going to have and how big things are going to get and that sort of thing. Um,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I get eaten by a Wumpus here somewhere because I love the death screen on
Yes.
this.
The Wumpus death screen is the best. You don't get that in Minesweeper. Like I
No,
like they should include Hunt the Wumpus with Windows.
that'd be great.
Perhaps the best part, and I hope this is what you were looking up, is the story of the
Yes,
guy
that's what I was
who made
looking
Hunt
up.
the
Oh, there
Wumpus.
we
There
go.
he is. Oh, you got Wumpus,
I got,
bitch. I love it. He's like the abominable snowman kind
yeah,
of.
and I love
Uh,
his little red looking thing, like rawr. And when you're
mhm,
done with the game, whether you win or lose, you can see the map, so you can see like how bad did I screw up? Was I,
mhm.
where was he really if I missed with my arrow, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
No.
So tell me a story about the guy who
Oh,
made
okay.
Hunt the Wumpus while I
So
slam this energy drink.
the guy who made Hunt the Wumpus, his name was depending on when you talk about this guy, his name was either Gregory Yob, Hera Ra, or Gregory H. Corson. And like he decided that computers were going to be sort of the next thing to transcend human consciousness. Computers and what it sounds like is a heavy dose of LSD. Um, and he came up with my favorite job title of all time, which is Neo Neuro Cyber Shaman. I
Yep.
don't know what that is, but I want that on my LinkedIn profile. Like,
No joke. Just do it, man.
I might, because, and like, if you dig into his history, I don't have his whole history here, but there's something about like him freezing his head and doing the whole thing. Like, he kind of went off on a very spiritual neo cyber pagan thing that is an interesting story to kind of dig into and learn more about. I won't do it justice with what I have in front of me, but I want to bring it up because people should look into it. It's a great, fascinating story. Um,
And I think there's like some dissonance there because like you hear all that and you think, oh my god, like this guy's gonna have like this is gonna blow your mind. But he made Hunt the Wumpus. I mean,
yeah,
it's a great game, but it definitely didn't like inspire me to think that I was going to be able to transcend my physical body and become a being
no,
of pure IT or
right,
whatever. Uh, but it apparently did for him.
yeah,
Maybe I'm not taking enough acid. I don't know.
yeah. I don't know either. God, I wish I could find. I'm looking through links here now, right? Trying to.
Is he still with us? Because man,
No,
there's a guy I would love to talk to.
yeah, no, absolutely. No, I believe he went to get himself frozen on his death,
Oh,
and no one can
okay.
confirm that he's where he supposedly is.
Mhm.
Um,
Well, that's a shame.
it is a shame.
I love stuff like that. I'm kind of making fun of him, but also like
Right.
I think that's pretty cool. Like
Yeah, I don't
if
want it to
you've
sound too much like we're having a laugh at his expense. I mean, we are laughing,
and it is funny.
and it is funny, but at the same time, I'm impressed.
I respect it.
I
I
respect
wish I
it.
had the balls to like go all in and change my name to Matt Raw and freeze
Yeah,
my head and all that. Make my
I
own job title.
I
But
don't. Yeah, but
I'm not doing it. But I'm glad he did.
I am glad he did, and I'm glad he brought us Hunt the Wumpus because it is
Yep.
one of it's probably the best game on the TI short of Tunnels of Doom.
Yeah. And you can get this and you can play it. Like there's versions on the internet. It's worth just messing around with.
hmm
So
Yeah.
the deal is we didn't really. This is going to be really confusing if you haven't played it. But the deal is that the red dotted areas mean you're like within two rooms of
Right.
a wumpus, and the green ones are slime, and then there's bats that look
They'll
like
drop you
bats.
around. Yeah.
They pick you up. So you have to like use where the dots are to kind of figure out where the wumpus is, and then you try to blast him with an arrow.
hmm
And like you said, you only have one arrow, which is like hunting Dracula at dawn. It doesn't make any sense. Uh,
Yeah.
but you take your shot, and if you get the wumpus, then you go home a hero. And if not, the big jaws come down.
And you get eaten.
You get eaten by the
Yeah.
wumpus.
You can't move onto the Wumpus Square. You can't move onto a Slime Pit Square. You die, and you just gotta kind of figure out where things are. Like, let me pause this real quick.
Yeah, talk us through your logic here in this game.
Okay, so if you're looking at on the left side of the screen, you'll see three green rooms. Each of those are within one of their doors leads to a slime pit.
Hmm.
Now, you'll notice that the door on the far left one actually goes into a curve, and that was kind of bold of me to just test it. Um,
Hmm.
because
Wraps around the screen, right?
wraps around, and that is probably going to be a slime pit between those other two rooms right next to it. So it's still within one square because the curve doesn't count. So,
Right. It goes by rooms, not tunnels.
right.
That's crucial.
It's very crucial. So if you have an empty room, you're safe to move in any direction. But the blooded rooms, if if it's the first room you found, you're still safe. But if it's the second one, you probably not because it means you're within a room of the Wumpus, and you got to figure out where it is.
Yeah. So yeah,
So,
that's pretty much all you need to know to play.
right. And then when you pick to shoot the arrow. Oh, the bat's carrying me, dropping me over there. Bat's carrying me, dropping me in
Yeah,
there.
that was bold.
Yep.
Good choice, Cotton. Oh,
And now,
see,
so
like
here,
this, you're
yeah,
playing a dangerous game.
and
Yeah.
I failed because
Yep.
what's probably happened is, I wish you would show them. I wish I had thought to show the map. Um, I knew I would do eventually get the Wumpus. So like I hit that red dot and I'm like, okay, go back and go somewhere safe. Same thing here. Go back and go somewhere safe. Explore all the safe rooms right away.
Hmm.
Okay, so I know
I
I
will.
can go up here.
It does like once you kind of get it, it becomes kind like a little easy. But that's why there's the other game modes.
Right.
So where you have to like remember what rooms there were or map them out. Uh, if you want to get really into the Wumpus experience, that's something you can do.
Okay, so
See,
like
like
I
this
got
is a
bulled
dangerous
there.
game. Yeah.
Yeah, but I knew since there's a curve there, the other side is a curve there. There's always 4 exits from a tile.
Hmm.
So you can know if there's a tunnel in the tile, then there's a tunnel the other curve in the tile. So like
Yeah.
north of that 2 tiles on the right, there's a curve going to that room. Like, and now I'm having to narrow it in quite a bit, and it's really getting dicey.
Right. You're in a jam.
I
Let's see.
really,
Let's see. We'll finish this out. We'll see if you get the Wumpus this time, and if you do, you're a hero to all children, and if you don't, you're
a failure. I've let my kids
well. I
down.
wasn't gonna say it, but yeah,
I know
a
who I am.
total failure. Yeah, wear it with pride.
Because this could
Greater
be.
men than you have fallen to the Wumpus. I guarantee that.
Yep.
Oh man, this
So that's
is this is a
probably.
dangerous.
Oh, that wouldn't be a pit down there, but it might be the Wumpus. So here's the thing: like, I don't know if the Wumpus is south or east from that room because I don't know where the curves are on the rest of it. Oh,
Hmm.
I know what I should do, and I'm not doing it. Ugh. Maybe I'm
Hindsight is
gonna.
2020, my friend. Oh man.
Yeah, I just had to go for it.
Wow.
Uh,
East. Shoot east. Oh, he's got to be there.
yep.
Oh.
Failure to everyone.
Oh
Failure
man.
to everyone.
Our subscriber numbers are gonna plummet. We don't have far to go.
Right?
You're frustrating people. All right. Well, I think we covered Hunt the Wumpus, don't you?
Yeah.
I feel good about this.
Yeah, I'm just kind of.
This is one I would recommend people play.
Oh, oh, oh.
Oh, go back.
Go back.
This is where you get to see the full
Yeah.
Wumpus body.
Hang on, I'm actually working with this transition thing. I'm experimenting.
Okay.
Okay.
It's good. That's what college is for, buddy.
Yep. Yeah, our production value should slowly start going up as I learn how to use the tools we're actually been using for 2 years.
Hey,
Um,
don't write a check that you're asking in cash.
we know exactly how qualified we are to do this. Oh, maybe I went too far back. Come on, buddy. I guess anything else you want to say about this?
Um, No, just play it. Like it's fun. It's not a huge commitment. You can, like I said, if you don't want to get out your TI emulator, you can play it online. It's not quite the same. Like I tried to play it online and wound up liking the TI version better, but you can get the idea.
Here it goes.
Here
Here
we
it goes.
go.
Here it goes.
That arrow and
Got it.
dead.
And that's what the Wumpus looks like. That is a weird looking thing. So.
He's got to have some kind of jaw alignment issues with teeth like that. I can't imagine.
All right. So let me pull up our last Texas Instruments game here, and then we'll get off this.
Yeah, I have to state a disclaimer about Parsec that I played it for roughly a minute and a half, and I already lied about Alpiner and said that there was a timer. So, but my story with Parsec is that this was the first game I ever remember, video game I ever remember having in my home,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember it because my brother's older than me, and he and my mom were playing it, and I felt really left out. So there was a He-Man,
Yeah.
and if you press on the neck, it sprays water.
Oh no.
So I sprayed it on my eyes like I was crying, and I went in and I said, I'm crying. Look, here, because no one cares about me. All you care about is Parsec. So that's part of the reason I didn't give this a fair shake because of that it brought
There's
up
some
a lot of
emotional scarring. Again, this is a very This is a very special episode. We're dealing with our insecurities.
Yep, little childhood trauma for you there. It's
Um,
rough growing up in suburbia.
it's rough growing up in suburbia. I do want to talk about this game quite a bit because there's a lot going on for what's basically an early shoot 'em up.
Hmm.
And it doesn't look like there's a lot going on. It looks like a typical up and down, shoot enemies as they come in. The enemies aren't even moving in that interesting of a pattern. But you can't just hold your button down. Your ship will overheat.
Yeah, there's inertia, it seems, right? When you go up and down, isn't there inertia?
So it's the lift at the bottom where it says lift 3.
Hmm.
And it took me a while to like remember this. But the lift controls how fast you move up and down.
Hmm. Which is required once the bad guys start shooting at you.
Yeah, you need to be going fast when you're fighting bad guys, but when you get to the refueling tunnel, because fuel is an issue, you have to slow down and kind of coast yourself into the tunnel because the tunnel is not a straight shot. So you've got to like dodge stalactites and stalagmites going in. There's like 3 or 4 waves, and then eventually there's killer satellites and there's asteroids, and the game's got a lot going on. If you like shoot 'em ups and you want to see one of the earliest ones, you should give this a shot. Um,
It's got enough elements to make it interesting.
mhm.
Uh, and, I like it. Like, I think it is a pretty good game. I had a real hard time with the guys that shoot you, and I think the controls generally feel a little too sluggish. But I was using keyboard. I don't
Don't
know.
use keyboard. You use get yourself a gamepad or a stick or something. Use that. You're still gonna have to use keyboard to change your lift speeds. Oh, here comes refueling tunnel. So you see, I've lowered my lift. So now I'm gonna move down much slower,
Yep.
and I've got to dodge down
Who
and
designed this refueling mechanism and why?
to be evil, to be totally evil.
Oh, we'll put it in
We'll
the
put
cave
it underground. Yeah,
stalagmites. That's a great idea. Sorry,
that's
again,
okay. That's
I've got some serious parsec
you got some parsec
emotional baggage.
issues. I get it. I get it. And then I got
Oh,
shot right away because I wasn't moving up and down.
that explosion is pretty great. Like for
Yeah.
the time, it gives you a sense of depth.
Hmm.
It's pretty good.
I
Pretty
like
good
the twinkle
explosion.
stars too. Like
Yeah,
I know that's ridiculous, but I do.
it's ridiculous that you call them twinkle stars.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what else. They're stars, but they're making them like twinkle in a way.
I
Uh,
also really like the sprites along the bottom because sometimes there's a really cool looking robot down there. I
yeah.
really like that guy.
Right. There's enemy ships. I actually remember asking my friend about that. I'm like, why are we like flying above the enemy ships and using their refueling station? He's like, don't ask. Just
Yeah, just get lost in the fiction.
enjoy the moment. Enjoy the moment.
Yeah, enjoy being abandoned by your
Hmm.
family while
Yeah.
they sit in the den on the.
Yeah.
Sorry, keep going.
Geez, you really were scarred by this, weren't
Yeah, I mean, it led me to falsify tears.
you? I would think if you were that scarred, you wouldn't need to falsify the tears.
Well, I mean,
You're too much. You're too much out
I'm
to
also
cry back then.
super tough. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
so
super tough. So yeah, you had to fake crying because actual crying just wouldn't come
yeah,
back.
with the use of the He-Man action figure, I think was
That's a
pretty
nice
good
touch. That's a nice touch. You didn't
for
just go
my
like
age.
sprinkle some on your face. You
No,
went
that's
through. Yeah. No,
amateur hour.
you got to apply it with an applicator.
What's Jed Herb?
Jed Herb are the initials of the people who wrote the game.
Nice. How'd you know that?
Because I looked it up. I did my
Did you make
work.
that up?
I put in a
Pointed,
modicum of effort.
pointed remark. Okay. Next game. Let's move
Let's
through
move it
these.
along. Move it along. All right. Actually, we don't have any more games for Texas Instruments.
Yeah, that was
So
pretty much it.
let's fade out there, and we'll spend the rest of our time going over our picks for 2017 on what we liked, what we didn't. Last year we had to retire Auto Duel and Infamy. Uh, we still bring it up.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah. Auto Duel was outside of the Parsec thing, probably my second most traumatic video gaming experience.
you're welcome. You're
I don't
welcome.
want to get into it.
You
I
don't
was
care.
going to say something, but I don't want to get into it.
You don't want to get into it. You don't want to go down that road again.
So what are we looking at here? I can't see. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're just looking at the whole
The
list of games,
boxes.
the boxes.
Okay.
I'll leave Parsec running in the other screen for you.
Thank you.
Give you something to look at. Um, so you got your scoring up,
Yeah, I'm ready.
got your grid up. I know I have fun in the first box, but I kind of don't want to start with that.
Okay.
Let's start with interface and work over and come back and do fun just before overall.
Okay.
Okay. Which had the worst interface? Worst
Uh,
interface.
worst interface, in my opinion, was Alone in the Dark.
I agree. I'm looking forward to playing the second one. It's one of the things we got recommended right away. They're like, there were a lot of improvements. You guys should give that a shot. I want to do it while it's fresh so we can actually do a compare. So in a couple
Mhm.
months, we'll do that.
Yeah, the things that were annoying were aiming. Aiming was the guns is annoying. Uh, Running is super annoying. Everything is sluggish. It's just all in all a pretty terrible interface.
Commands appear in the menu that weren't there before, but only in certain rooms.
Mhm.
It just, yeah, I didn't. Best interface.
I don't think you would have thought of this, but I thought I gave Pirates the best interface
I did not think of that. Um,
because, well, you tell me yours.
okay, so I have the one I picked, but I feel guilty about it,
Oh God.
and I'll explain why in a second. Master of Orion 2, I felt had the best interface. That thing was solid.
It
Everything had
was.
tooltips over the top of it. It was really good. Um,
That's I forgot about those tooltips. We loved those tooltips,
yeah,
both of us.
in terms of interface, Master of Orion 2 to me hands down had the best game interface. I want
It's
go on.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No,
I
go
was gonna
go.
say it was a little busy, but there's so much you can do. So
There
I get it.
is, yeah, there's a lot, and it managed to cram all that lot and not make me feel too overwhelmed. Here's my problem. Here's where I feel guilty. Lords of Midnight, once we had that interview, explained to me that the interface was actually thought of as part of the story, and I've got to bring that up because that's even though I didn't like the key layouts and I thought there were some things that could still be improved.
Hmm.
That touch, I don't know which one to really give the nod to because Master of Orion 2, in terms of gameplay, is the better interface. In terms of intent and technique and execution, Lords of Midnight is the better interface.
I think there's two that I would like to discuss.
Okay.
Die by the Sword had probably the most interesting interface,
Yep.
and I think it's noteworthy just because it was so. Because that was the whole game, right?
Hmm.
Was the interface.
Yeah.
But I wanted to mention that one. I liked. I did think Lords of Midnight was noteworthy for the same reason you gave it. I think I gave it to Pirates because it was just very effective. Like it was. You didn't even think about it. It just
As
felt really natural.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't disagree with your Pirates thing. I can see why you gave it those points. Pirates very definitely it felt good.
Hmm.
You know, I and again it's a case of Master of Orion 2 came so much later and had so much more computing power behind it. It could do a better interface.
Yeah.
If I was waiting it for a year, Pirates would probably come out on top. But you know,
Yeah.
so
So yeah, we more or less agree. I think
yeah,
on there. Like I might actually change my answer, Master of Orion too, but I think because, like you said, because it was so much later,
yeah.
that feels a little
Yeah, I don't think you
unfair.
made a bad choice. I
Yeah.
wouldn't. I'm not like what the hell.
All right.
Because
So
you're right.
still
It was
friends.
instinct. We're still friends. Let's ruin it here with villain. We had the best villain, worst villain. This should
Uh,
be easy.
Worst villain, you go first.
Worst villain, fantasy.
Uh, Fair enough. I said the worst villain was Santiago from Jagged Alliance.
Oh, I disagree. Oh,
Really?
I totally disagree on that.
He was just kind of like out there.
Ooh, you didn't play long enough. Like as you start
Oh,
doing things, he's doing things back at you. Like the thing I liked about him, and this is what crushes me about not liking the game anymore, is like you start out with he's already done something to you. He's stolen a part that's keeping you from getting money. You're immediately invested in getting that back. He's already established himself as an antagonist, and you get that back, and now they're like, and now he's poisoning the water supply, trying to drive out the rest of your workers. So you got to go do that. Then he does something else. All the while, his troops are moving at you, trying to reclaim territory. There is an actual give and take fight that's happening with this guy. Where fantasy, what's this guy doing? Sitting around waiting for you to collect rings because
who was the
reasons?
villain in Fantasy?
Exactly.
I looked.
Nicodemus.
Nicodemus. I think I couldn't say Fantasy because that's such a great bad guy name.
Yeah. Well, Rats and him.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
formative movie for me.
formative movie for a lot of us. This is a good movie. Had
Yeah,
some
I
great
see your
scary
point.
things. He just didn't do anything. He's just there. I had a bunch of stuff that was like NA, like Pirates. See, Pirates to me didn't really have a villain, but I guess you're right. Santiago was one. Mech Warrior 2 didn't really have a villain. You were just dropped in and fought stuff. Um,
Yeah, with MechWarrior 2, you could choose which side, so
mhm.
you could be
You could
the
be the
villain
villain. Villain.
that you were
Uh,
just fighting against. So that's a little weird.
Same with Master of Orion 2. Most strategy games don't have that. So
Who
who is
was
the best?
was I think we're gonna agree that it was Lord
Oh,
Doomdark.
hells yes. Lord
Yeah.
Doomdark is the best villain for naming, for challenge, for. Um,
Yep.
and I would have said that before the interview where I found out how layered all the AI is behind it. But once I heard that, it's not even a question. It's Lords of Midnight for best
Yep.
villain.
Definitely.
Most surprising game and least surprising game. I'm. Can we just both just get most surprising out of the way as Lords of Midnight?
Yeah, Lords of Midnight
Lords of
definitely
Midnight,
most surprising.
most surprising.
I didn't pick a least surprising. This is one of the ones that I didn't feel like I could
You didn't have
pick.
anything that was like, this is exactly what I expected.
Well, because I've played them all except for Wizardry and Lords of Midnight, so I don't know. I mean, I guess I was surprised that I didn't like Masters of Orion 2 more
Hmm.
because I remember it being so great, and then I think we both kind of just had a hard time getting into it again.
Well, but that's what I mean by like a game we played before can still be surprising. So which game was like, you know what, my nostalgia held up. This was exactly what I thought. Nothing changed for me after having played this game.
Uh, so least surprising,
Yeah.
yeah, it would probably be Master of Orion 2.
Really? Okay.
Or wait, well,
Yeah, which is the one that came out
oh,
exactly like you expected.
but see, like for me, it would be Die by the Sword, but that's just because I played Die by the Sword like two years ago.
That's
Again, I
okay.
picked it up, so
That's your
that
least
seems too
surprising.
personal.
Yeah, for
So
me it was
I'll go with
Wizardry. You know, Wizardry was the one that like, yep, this was exactly what I remember it being.
yeah, probably for the same reason, right? Because you
Yeah,
trot that out.
I trot that out every so often. So it's kind of not a
Excuse
fair
me.
award, but
Yeah,
whatever.
whatever. Get
Uh,
your own YouTube channel if you don't like it.
yeah. Nostalgia. Which had the least nostalgia? We'll
Um,
probably agree with this too.
excuse me. Again, I didn't pick a worst, least nostalgic.
Well, I'm about to change mine. So, do you have a least nostalgic?
You mean the one that didn't feel anything for after playing it again?
The one, yeah, the one where nostalgia just wasn't a factor, wasn't in it. You didn't feel any nostalgia value with that game. Nothing brought you back having played it.
Well, I
Like
mean,
like when we played Fantasy, you hadn't played Fantasy before, but you felt that nostalgia feel. Same with Shard of Spring.
well, it
Like
would
you,
be Lords of Midnight because it wasn't like anything else. But I don't want to give it a worst award because that's not fair. That's
but is it
so.
the worst? Like it's just this is the game I felt the least nostalgia for. That can in Lords of Midnight's case, I think it's almost the best. Um, but I get what you're saying. Like, are you breaking your headphones?
I broke them.
Oh my god,
What were you bitching about?
that doesn't matter. I was
So
just
the game I felt the least nostalgia for was Lords of
Lords of
Midnight
Midnight.
because it was unlike any other game that I've
Yeah.
ever played.
Hmm.
And sometimes we talked about it when we talked about Lords of Midnight. But like
Yeah.
I can play a old game that I've never played before, but it's so like other games that it makes me
Feel
nostalgic
nostalgia.
for the genre.
Yeah. Lords of
So
Midnight didn't do any of that. And it this is where like you're saying I don't want to give it a worst award, but to me it's almost a badge of honor because it was so good and didn't cash in on nostalgia at all. At least not for us.
yeah,
It's just something that was a good game on its own. Most nostalgic?
for me it would be Pirates.
I can see that. For me, it's fantasy.
So tell me briefly your why fantasy held the most nostalgia for you. What's your
Fantasy.
fantasy memory?
So my fantasy memory was um, like when I lived in Chicago. I didn't have the computer yet. I just had an Atari 2600, so I was going to friends' houses. And one of my friends had fantasy. And while I'd played some CRPGs before, like I'd played Tunnels of Doom and I played some stuff. They were all really light CRPGs. Not that fantasy's super in depth, but this was one that like gave an overworld and had some dungeons and um, there's part of me that every time I boot it up, even with all the long loading screens and the horrible graphics and the everything else, I go back to being that like 10-year-old kid in that guy's bedroom playing fantasy. Uh,
Mhm.
it's just it's a personal nostalgic factor for me. Um,
I'm sorry, I was alarmed by the phrase being a 10-year-old kid in
in
that
that
guy's
guy's
bedroom
bedroom.
playing
Yeah, as I
fantasy.
said it, I'm like, that
He,
sounds
he was
really bad.
also a kid,
He was
right?
also a kid. He was
Okay.
also a
And
kid.
fantasy was the video game, right?
Fantasy was the video game. I wasn't in some guy's bedroom having a fantasy.
We're
Oh,
digging deep.
I'm digging deep here. Very special episode.
So my Pirates memory is that I got Pirates at Goodwill on a
Oh,
five and a quarter disc,
nice.
and when we worked at a hospital together, uh, I used to work overnights, and
Yep.
I would play that thing.
Would you?
Yeah, yeah, on that computer,
That's
even though I wasn't
fantastic.
supposed to,
Oh
because I
yeah.
was negligent and it was a boring as hell job.
Well, it was babysitting printers. I mean,
Hmm.
you basically sat there for 8 hours waiting for the printers to print, and then hauled ass for about 2 hours. So
Hmm. But that's
that's
my Pirates memory.
that's a good Pirates memory.
It was actually later, but the fact that I got it at Goodwill, because Goodwill was very important to me in my early or my mid to late teens.
Hmm.
So yeah, great stories, great stories.
Great stories. Everybody's riveted. Sound and music.
Uh, Best I gave to or worst Sound of Music. I mean, the worst has got to be Lords of Midnight because there isn't any, but that again seems unfair. Wizardry didn't have any sound or
Wizards, you
music.
just had beeps and boops. I
Well,
didn't
even
count any of
fucking
the silence. I marked like Lords of Midnight, Fantasy, and Wizardry 1 were all basically silent.
Fantasy had some fart noises, didn't it? Some
Yeah,
PC speaker farts. Yeah.
yeah.
I guess
Um,
I'm gonna give worst to Pirates just because that fucking wind noise drove me batshit crazy.
I didn't
I
mind the wind
was,
noise, but I get it.
but I was. I think I was on. You played on Commodore, where it's not quite as horrible
Hmm.
as it is on the PC
Yeah.
version. So
Um, so my worst sound effects. I thought I had a worst music too, but apparently I don't have a worst music. Ultima 3 to me was the worst sound effects.
yeah,
And it was
they
they actually slow the gameplay down.
they interfere with the gameplay. That's a good answer.
That's so then it comes down to sort of music and other stuff. I gave Jagged Alliance an honorable mention on voice acting. 53 caliber gun. You know,
That's true.
his little sexy
I
voice.
love that guy. Yeah,
Canteen.
that's a good call out. Yep, because
um,
that was
yeah,
the sexiest canteen I ever found was in that game.
and you can't talk about sound and not talk about Loom.
Right. Loom sound was central to the game, and the voice acting was really good,
Hmm.
and the music I think was pretty good.
Music was fine.
A
Um,
solid answer for
yeah,
best. Is that what you picked?
no, because I don't remember any of the songs. For me, the best music was Ultima 3, so it's got the worst sound effects and the best music.
I
Uh,
agree.
Best voice, though? You're going to be surprised. Alone
What
in
is
the
it?
Dark.
Oh, I did love that. acting.
Like as much grief as I gave it as I thought about it, I'm like, nope, this is so B movie and so perfect for what it's trying to do.
You are never going to forget that voice acting once you play that game.
Mm-mm.
I gave MechWarrior 2 best just because it's a later game. The guns all sound really good. The mechs sound good.
Mm-hmm.
The music is pretty like epic battle
Yeah.
kind of music. So I gave that my best. But I definitely like if we break up sound and music,
Yeah.
I think voice acting definitely Alone in the Dark
Yeah. It's
is
got
the
some good
best.
sounds too. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, that's a good answer.
Introduction, little intro movie clip, the thing that gets you started. What's your worst?
I didn't pick a worst um, because so many of them didn't have it. The Alone in the Dark one was kind of tedious,
Mm-hmm.
um, but I didn't mind it. But that's probably because I have a lot of nostalgia
Yeah.
for that introduction. Uh,
My worst was Wizardry. It just shows like monsters scrolling slot machine style. It doesn't tell you
oh
anything
yeah,
about the game. It doesn't do anything about the game. There's nothing that gets you in the mood to play the game. Like at least Fantasy had like some weird pictures and stuff, and was trying to set the mood. Wizardry just like, "Meh, here's a samurai, meh, here's a slime, and didn't
yeah,
care.
yeah.
Um,
That's a good answer.
like even the box was black and just sort of black. You know, it had a
Hmm.
little logo on it, but it didn't do anything to drag you in. So,
Hmm.
best introduction?
MechWarrior 2, baby.
Absolutely.
Oh, so good.
Absolutely.
That.
Honorable mention to Ultima 3.
Yep, I
The
love the Ultimate 3 intro with for what they had and what they did. I like it. Like it's kitschy, it's fun.
mhm.
That's a good answer.
But
Uh,
Mech Warrior 2.
the Dragon Alliance intro is also noteworthy for its unapologetic
80s movie.
action movie aesthetic. So definitely a noteworthy intro there. Kind of cheesy, but
Mhm.
all in all, a pretty good time.
Okay. Manual.
Uh, the worst, what I gave to Loom.
Interesting. I gave mine to Alone in the Dark.
I don't even remember the manual for Alone in the
Is
Dark.
like one CD insert that's like push these keys to move. It did nothing to build the story. It did nothing to contribute. It just was a very clinical here's how to play the game. And with a game where the interface was that bad, it should have done more.
Trying to remember why I picked Loom, because I went back and reread the manuals for this.
Okay.
Um, there were some games where the manual was just wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure why.
Well, Loom also had like a bunch of spells that you were never going to get to cast, and so I'll give you Loom.
Yeah, yeah,
Like it was setting you up for a trilogy that never happened.
right. I think that's probably why. Because I flipped through a bunch of manuals when I filled this out.
Yeah.
Would you give best manual?
Best manual I gave to Pirates.
Me too. Good answer. It taught me a lot about sailing
Mm-hmm.
and a little about love.
Yeah.
It was a really good.
I have to mention like the Ultimate 3 spellbooks because
Mm-hmm.
fantastic. And I have to mention that Lords of Midnight comes with a novel,
Mm-hmm.
a little
Yep.
novella
Lords
to
of
get you in the
Midnight.
mood. In the mood.
I thought the writing in the Lords of Midnight manual was far better than the writing in the Ultima manuals.
Mm-hmm. I can agree
Uh,
with that.
sorry,
No, that's fine. I just think
love
that if you
British.
you know you include 2 books of fluff for the manual, you at least get to have that brought up that
Hmm.
you're trying to do that bridge between the manual and the game as a interaction. Lords of Midnight managed to take that to a different level than I think Ultima did, which
Hmm.
I'm I don't want to keep bringing that up, but I'm finding myself very much comparing Lords of Midnight to the Ultima universe. Even though there's less games, there definitely was an intent between the two developers to create that um, sort of symbiotic our world, their world
Hmm.
tie that's really cool. And I
Yeah.
it gun to my head, I think Lords of Midnight did it better. And
Hmm.
I'm surprised at that. I thought Lord British was like alone out on an island on there, and to find someone else who not only did it but really nailed it just as hard, if not better, is a great find.
Hmm.
Story.
Worst story I gave to Wizardry.
I gave to the Dig.
I don't know. I didn't think that the Dig story was that bad. Like it had one, which is more than you can say for Wizardry.
Wizardry has a story. There's an evil bad guy at the bottom of a dungeon. Kill him. Um,
Throw yourself at the dungeon over and over again
yeah.
for a
Uh,
month.
I think why I didn't give it to Wizardry is because Wizardry didn't have a story, and I feel like the Dig screwed up their story.
That's fair. Yeah.
You
But
know,
that was like written by Orson Scott Card. I mean, as far as disappointment, I would definitely agree with Loom. Who wrote the Loom story?
not
Was it Orson
Loom,
Scott Card?
Dig.
Or I mean, the Dig.
Yeah,
Was it Orson Scott Card?
maybe. I know he wasn't thrilled with it either. It was supposed to be a TV thing,
Right.
and like
It
if
was
it
a
was a Stranger
Spielberg.
Things Spielberg show, I could have seen that happening. Um, but like so many weird things happened that didn't make sense. Like at the end where the guy you'd been fighting the whole time suddenly shows up and I'm here too. Like we don't care. Like there's just little weird things that I don't know, I felt like the story was botched. I felt like it didn't tell a good one. The aliens just sort of wave their hand and fix everything and no one learns a lesson and I
Hmm.
don't know. I didn't I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling the story on that one.
Here's who wrote that: Orson Scott Card, who
Hack.
wrote Ender's Game. Come on, like he went batshit crazy politically and
Oh yeah,
socially,
no, yeah.
and he's a total probably. I don't want to say he's a total shitbag, but he has the opinions of someone who's a total shitbag.
Hmm.
Brian Moriarty, who wrote Wishbringer and a bunch of Beyond Zork, Loom, so he's got and
He's got
Steven
some
Spielberg.
chops. Yeah, and Steven Spielberg. No, I get it. I just feel like this story got muddled somewhere, and like I would rather play a game with no story than this story. I was severely disappointed by the Dig. If Lords of Midnight hadn't been the most surprising game, the Dig would have been the most surprising game.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't play a lot. That was the month that we did Loom and
Hmm.
the Dig, and I finished Loom, and then I only played a little bit of the Dig, so I didn't really experience all
I
of
played
this.
all the way through the Dig. I got all the way
Yeah.
through it and just like if in the beginning it was okay, it just started falling apart. So,
Hmm.
um, and that puts us on to Game World. Best and worst. Worst.
The worst game world. I
Come
gave
on.
it to MechWarrior 2
Really?
just because, like, I like the universe, but I didn't like any of the worlds because they were so boring and flat and uninteresting.
See, I wouldn't have given it to that just because, and this is completely unfair because it's outside the game, but there's a history and a story and everything else that carries with it of the two clans fighting and that they are clans and they're from another history and they do
I
stuff to,
love I love that shit.
yeah,
But the actual like world that you play in, I did not like at all in MechWarrior 2. Everything's hazy just because of the rendering distance,
right.
and I like it was just a chore to walk through the game world in MechWarrior 2. But the universe is awesome. Like the universe is way up there
Yeah.
because
Yeah, I'm
it's the
looking
whole.
forward to the new BattleTech game, and I guess MechWarrior 5 is starting to make progress towards coming out. There's some gameplay videos of that now. So, looking forward to those games. But yeah, I can see where you're going with that. I went with fantasy, and I'm surprised you didn't either since you were complaining about Gelnor and Pelnor.
Yeah,
It's
fantasy wasn't great,
J.R.R. Trollkin. Like
right? It's
it's a joke
derivative.
world. It's a joke world, and I just like nah.
Yeah, I can get behind that. I'm not going to fight with you. Like if you take the universe out of it, I would change to that.
Yeah.
Like it's still more interesting to move through and experience.
Mm-hmm.
And there were good things about it, like the dungeons had kind of a feel to them that I
Right.
liked.
I can agree
So
with your decision, the way you looked at
yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so best? You and I aren't going to agree on this one. Go ahead.
The best game world I thought was Loom.
It deserves an honorable mention. It's an interesting world that I wish they would have managed to get the other two stories on. And again, not that anyone from I can't think of the people who are making the games now. They made the Game of Thrones and Walking Dead games. Telltale.
Oh,
If
yeah.
Telltale could somehow get the rights to this, please make the rest of Loom.
Mhm.
Please, because we need it. It's so good.
What I liked about it was just how the there weren't like really defined rules up front. Like
Hmm.
all of a sudden you're in the, there's all the different trades, and it was really interesting and weird. And it didn't, it had a logic to it, but it was so far removed from the logic of our world that it felt really fantastic.
Yes.
I
While
loved that.
being familiar enough that you could get into it. Like,
Hmm.
you're like, oh, this is a crazy, weird thing. And you enjoyed unraveling it and learning its logic and playing with it.
Hmm.
It never made you feel stupid, but it did make you feel clever when you figured out a puzzle.
Hmm.
I liked that game world. Um, but my favorite was Jagged Alliance,
Mm,
which
that's a
again
good answer.
makes me sad uh, because final, final two here. Which games do you have the most fun, or least fun with?
I'm sorry, but it was Wizardry one.
That's no, it's
I
good.
Yeah, I'll bet you picked Alone in the Dark, didn't you?
I did not.
Oh, what'd you pick?
Jagged Alliance,
Oh, that would have been my second bet.
and I think it's just because the racism and sexism in the game, now that I see it, knocks me out of it so much that it's not fun to play. And
Mm-hmm.
it's such a crushing. It was so crushing for me that I just happened to notice it this time. I hadn't noticed it any of the other times I played, and this time it bothered me, and
Mm-hmm.
I just don't want to play it anymore. And I feel like I lost one of my favorite games. So, um,
Did you get that worse nostalgia then?
no.
Maybe you
Uh,
should. Maybe
uh,
you should, my friend.
maybe I
What did you
gave it
give
to
it to?
Lords of Midnight because there was no nostalgia.
Yeah, but
Where
that's Jagged Alliance was negative nostalgia
you're
because you
correct.
remember liking it and now you don't.
You're
I'm
correct.
not trying to tell you how to do your thing. Actually, I am. Yeah, it's your answer. It's Jagged Alliance. You're welcome.
Yeah, no, I'm changing it. Not that
Yeah.
anyone's ever going to see this or talk about it again, but yeah, you're
Hey,
right. It's negative. It's negative nostalgia.
I might have to change mine too. Actually,
What are you changing it to?
Jagged Alliance because
Okay.
I had a similar experience. Uh, Not to the same degree you did. It didn't bother me that much, but it was like I felt disappointed and let down in
Yeah.
it. So
I didn't want to
yeah,
record that episode.
yeah, you had a hard
That's
time with that one. Yeah,
that's how bad it. I didn't even want to record it. Um, I toyed with calling you and being like, "Can we play another game?" Because
and I would have said hell no.
you're
You
playing it.
soldier,
Eat
you soldier through it.
it. Eat it. What's funny is I probably still played more than you.
Yeah,
Okay, so what game do you have the most fun with? And I'm betting we agree.
Die by the Sword.
Absolutely.
That was the most fun I think. And we played the ogre hockey, playing
Ogre
ogre
hockey's
hockey
fun.
multiplayer.
Yeah,
That was the most fun that you can have for however much it costs,
right.
$15 or whatever.
Um, it's mindless fun, and I love the over the top, just sheer metalness.
Hmm.
Metal.
It was super
Um,
good.
yeah, it's so good. It's so campy fantasy.
Hmm.
Just it's Duke Nukem with a sword.
Hmm.
It's Duke 3D with a sword, and uh, in terms of tone.
Hmm.
So I loved it. I so much fun with that. Okay,
Yep.
overall, what was the best
Worst
game and worst game? So start with the worst game.
for me, it was Wizardry.
Okay, for me it was Jagged Alliance, but I give Master of Orion 2 an honorable mention.
Wow, really?
Oh no, wait, wrong direction. Honorable mention. Master Ryan 2 is an honorable mention for best overall, but it's not my best overall. And
Really?
it's because it's boring. It's good. It's solid. The mechanics are it's a cube. There's nothing fascinating about Master of Orion, which is why when I looked at my honorable mention, I immediately presumed it's the worst because it's both. It's the
Hmm.
worst and it's the best. It's a solid chunk of 4X game back when we didn't have 4X games, so it seemed incredible because it did everything right. But it doesn't do anything with a quirk. It doesn't do anything interesting. It doesn't do anything that makes me want to go back and play it again.
Hmm.
And that's super sad because I remember thousands of hours on that game. I played a
Yeah,
lot
we
of it.
played that a lot. Yeah. Interesting.
So what was your worst game?
Wizardry one.
Wizardry 1, yeah. Uh Best game overall?
Lords of Midnight. I thought it was unique. I thought the storytelling was great. I had fun playing it. I felt
Mhm.
engaged with the world. I thought quality wise, it was probably the best.
I want to give it to Lords of Midnight because I really liked Lords of Midnight.
She gave it to Alone in the Dark.
I gave it to Ultima 3. Um, and it's just because I know that while I'll go back and play Lords of Midnight some more,
Mm-hmm.
and this is a completely personal. It's just that I've played Ultima 3 enough that it's sometimes fun. Now that I'm talking about it though, I think I'm changing again.
What are you changing it to?
I'm changing to Lords of Midnight.
Yeah.
It's a better game.
The
It's
thing that struck me in doing this is that I picked Ultima 3 for none of mine because it's such a competent game. The world is good, but it's not amazing. You
it's
know,
a Master of
everything.
Orion 2 situation.
Yeah, it's consistent and it's a well done game. And I think because it's so uh,
And I think that's why I was giving
archetypical
it
of
an
the genre.
overall. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's why I was giving it an
it's
overall best game because like it does dungeons, it does cities, it does
mhm,
exploration, does a little bit of role play, changes the fantasy trope of we're getting in a fight with the bad guy to
mhm.
we're just punching in computers, introduces some new aspects to the Ultimate trilogy while doing some other things. It's a really good game on its own, where I think a lot of Lords of Midnight were also taking from the remake.
That's fair. Yeah.
You know, and that's why I'm really the two of them side by side. I think stand shoulder to shoulder because in the next breath, like I mean, I played Ultima on the Commodore, but you played it with the graphics patch, so
Hmm.
it's not like we're getting a completely fresh thing on either side, and we're
Hmm.
playing through emulators, so we can save states and stuff like that. We're not getting a raw experience anymore.
Hmm.
They're both really good. They're both really good. I feel, yeah, you can't go bad with either of them. The truth
Yeah.
is, we're like last year we had Auto Duel.
Hmm.
Um, and let me just take a quick look here. I want to see what all our I want to see what all our games were from last year. This is a bad way to do it. Games we'd like to play. Where are you?
What are you looking for? The list?
I want to see what we played last year. So like,
Oh, the
uh,
year.
yeah,
You mean in 2016?
2016. XCOM, System Shock, Dungeon Keeper, Questron, TIE Fighter, Shard of Spring, Auto Duel, Ultima Force, Stronghold, Load Runner, and Dark Lord. Last year had Auto Duel, a game where we could honestly say, don't play that.
Hmm.
Shard of Spring. I have fun. I want to go back and finish it someday correctly, but I can
Hmm.
also say, you're probably not going to like it. You don't
Hmm.
play it. This year, you probably feel that way about Wizardry, but I don't see any games in our list that I would say don't play.
I see. I get the appeal of Wizardry, and that Wizardry took a lot of energy for me just to get
Mm-hmm.
because we were on like we had a Google Hangout where you had to like get my head right to play Wizardry, and I don't think it's a bad game. Like for what it is, it's pretty fun, but I think it's just kind of a genre that I might not really be into.
That's why I'm
The
going to be
dungeon
interested.
tromping. So,
Yeah,
but if you like dungeon tromping, Wizardry One is like a solid
that's solid
example,
dungeon
and
trump.
it's got some unique stuff in it. So,
I would say, what I'm going to be interested in, and that's why I picked it for this year. We're going to be doing Bard's Tale, and um, I want to see your take on Bard's Tale because it is still a dungeon trump, but there's a lot more flavor and character and more to it. And I want to
mhm,
see if you still are like, nah, this isn't for me, or if you're
mhm.
like, you know what, I can see where this could go. You liked Might and Magic though,
I
or are
loved
you
Might and
just thinking
Magic.
Heroes of Might and Magic?
No, no, Might and Magic, where you're
Okay.
walking around and everything's like
Okay.
CGA blue. Yeah, I liked that one. But that one you had overland travel. It wasn't just in a dungeon, you know?
No, I don't. Explain.
Well, in Wizardry, you're just in a one dungeon, and it's not.
So it's the wallpaper that bummed you out? Because effectively walking around in Might and Magic is still just tunnels of trees.
No, there were open areas in Might and Magic.
I
Like
guess. I
there's
guess.
like a town, and you can walk around, and you're not kind of. I mean, you're not so much on rails in Wizardry, but you're very confined, and you don't really. I didn't. It didn't scratch my exploration itch
Okay.
because
It
you're
isn't a
just
big
going.
dungeon.
Yeah.
I mean that's one of the things too. It isn't a big dungeon, and it doesn't give you a lot of room to play when you're doing your initial grind. Um,
Well, like in uh, Might and Magic, the scenery kind of changes, and there's people. And in Wizardry, it's just like, what's the next thing that's gonna piss me off about this dungeon? Like, is it gonna? Oh, now I can't see. Like, I just spent 2 days trying to get out of that 4 rooms that you can function in when you start. And now I'm fucking lost and angry. And I yelled at my dog for no reason. Like, you know, but
it is a
that's
different time in games and a different mindset. And
it's really old. That the oldest game we played? I think it was.
so far, yeah, it's the oldest game we've played.
Yeah.
And not only that, but what's really interesting about it is it was known as a hard game. Like back when games were a lot harder, it was considered one of the toughest RPGs out there. And what I'm really interested in seeing is because we will play it sometime, if only so that I can enjoy you getting pissed off. There's the second one, and the devs doubled down on the hardness. They're like, no,
Seriously.
no. The developer, the publisher was, or the producer, the guy who's in charge of Surtech, uh, had a debate with them about like, no, we should like maybe take it down a notch and make it more accessible. And they're like, no, people want a hard game. We're going to make it harder. And they did. And next game they had to knock it down, but
Hmm.
Wizardry 2 is supposedly like right up there. Bard's Tale 2 is that way too. Bard's Tale 2 will kick you in the balls. Um,
I loved the best things about Wizardry is just how like uh, unapologetically realistic it is.
yeah,
Not even realistic, but just like the way your dudes can just
just
die
die.
in their sleep and their skills go down when you level up. It's like, who does that? But
Why do you hate us? We
that's
we bought your game,
yeah. Don't punish me for it.
right?
But I like that about it.
Yeah.
I just got frustrated
Hmm.
with fighting against the dungeon. I think I have a hard time with that kind of idea.
Yeah. No, I get it. I like it, and that's the thing. And this is where sometimes we have different tastes. And I'm glad we're both doing this show because it allows us to kind of share those with other people and let you know like there's no such thing as like the perfect game.
Hmm.
There's no game that everyone's gonna like or everyone's gonna want or everyone's gonna anything. And even though I get a little hung up on certain games, especially when I paid a lot of money for them and I get angry that I did and things like that.
Let me
If
ask
you
you a question.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry. Finish. I'm
I was
sorry.
gonna say
Finish.
if you don't like the game, There's like a zillion of them out there. Go find the game you want. Go have some fun with this. We're doing an exploration where we're sticking ourselves in games we might not like for a month to see if we can dig something useful out of it. But I just in the sort of go find some Commodore games or some Apple games or some old DOS games. There's plenty of them out there that you can find online right now and try them. See what you can get. Because odds are you'll find something of value in a genre that you might not have expected. And different directions to go that maybe something's going to do something for you that wouldn't have done it for either of us. We certainly had plenty of people tell us we were wrong about Master of Orion 2.
Yep. And that's like, I like that. That's fine.
Yeah,
like,
that's fair. You like it? Great. I am not going to rain on your parade. I didn't. And not that I didn't, it just, I'm not going to play it again.
That was a victim of nostalgia, I think.
Total nostalgia victim. Way overhyped in my mind, and when I got to it, could not live up.
So let me ask you a philosophical question.
Yes.
If Jagged Alliance weren't racist and sexist, would Alone in the Dark have been your worst game? Because I know that's number 2 on your worst game list. Or so was it that offensive to you that it wrecked the entire game, or do you think it was just an overall?
Oh, it was that offensive to me that it wrecked the entire game. Yeah, Alone in the Dark would have probably been up there as to worst. No, I got to take that back. Dig.
Oh, the Dig.
Dig would have been the worst game overall. I just didn't like its puzzles. I didn't like its story. I didn't like how it slapped stuff together, especially coming off Loom. And I think Dig suffered from me playing Loom just before it because Loom was so good and so short, and I wanted more of it so badly that playing something similar right after, that game wasn't going to hold up. And it's kind of unfair to the Dig, but at the same time, if you said you can play the Dig or Alone in the Dark again, but you have to play one of them, I would play Alone in the Dark again. So no, it would be the Dig. Dig would be right under it. I gave you a little bit of grief about Alone in the Dark because I didn't have a great time with it. I ended up looking up some of the puzzles at the end because the interface was so bad. I loathe doing that. It's a line in the sand for me. If I've got to look something up in your game, then I feel like that game broke because I very rarely have to look something up. And I knew there were puzzles I just wasn't going to get without looking it up. Like the one where you have to select jump from the menu.
Right, that just appears.
If I had seen it before or had been able to play with jump, or you'd given me some sense that jumping was going to be a thing, then great. Like I get up there and I'm like, oh, it's the Indiana Jones test of faith. And I'm falling into water and stuff, and I just don't know what I'm doing until I look up that in this room there's now a new command. Great.
Well, it's not something where you would expect that to be a solution to the puzzle. Like, maybe I should check for a command that's never been there before.
Yeah.
Like, that's not a logical process that anyone is going to have. No. So I definitely agree that was a huge failing in Alone in the Dark. Yeah. And some of the puzzles were goofy.
Patently unfair.
They had a crazy logic to them that I kind of liked a little bit.
And I get it. And I would have enjoyed the survival horror aspect of it more, I think, if all the monsters weren't so comical. Like, the monsters weren't scary. The sound effects were. The sound effects were great. If they could have... It was just a little too early in 3D for them to pull that out when and how they did. So it didn't... Like, if I turned the lights off in Alone in the Dark and opened the door and saw the zombie, I wouldn't have jumped. It didn't... It never got my pulse racing. It never... I don't know. It never delivered on the horror. Just on the survival.
There were some times where I felt that it wasn't, like, jump scare you, but I felt like it was foreboding, like that part where you walk into the dining room and all the zombies are sitting around the table and you're like, what am I going to do with this? Or the giant rotating spheres that make the huge noise and the
Hmm.
whole camera shakes like that. I liked that a lot. Or the dancing guys in the ballroom seemed kind of creepy to me.
Well, and I think
But
this
that,
is another case of, sometimes we can get past some of our nostalgia or our timeline and graphics and look back with a critical eye from that era, and sometimes we
Mhm.
can't. And this is where anything in that early 3D, I'm sorry, I try to remember that this was the height of graphics at the time, and this was actually a lot scarier back when that was a realistic depiction in 3D. And now it looks like a bunch of cubes and circle like the smoke is hilarious to me.
it is really bad.
It's
Yeah.
really bad. Um, but back at the time, I probably would have been like, "Oh, that's really cool," and
Hmm.
it's it just didn't age well, and
That's true.
I feel bad for that because I know you really love that game and you have a lot of nostalgia for it, and
Hmm.
I know when we suggest games to each other and the other one doesn't like it, we both feel really like, "Oh, I'm sorry."
Yeah. What's wrong with me or you?
Yeah, one of us is
One of
wrong
one of
here,
us is a shithead. Yeah.
and it's not. It's a matter
It's
of,
both of us are
yeah.
shitheads.
Well, that's a given. Um, Personal nostalgia, personal history, personal game playing experience, and what it
Hmm.
meant to us at the time. That's I got to admit that's part of why Ultima 3 is up there with you know Lords
Hmm.
of Midnight. I think if I had no nostalgia for Ultima 3, this wouldn't have even been a tie for me. Uh,
But as part of the reason Lords of Midnight won so many for us was because it was new and such a surprise. Like, is it the victim of?
of
Is it
newness,
succeeding because we don't have nostalgia for it? You know what I mean?
I think that's some of it. I think the surprise definitely helped weigh in. Um, but the graphics are charming on their own in a way, regardless. I mean, even though they're meant to harken back to 1984,
Hmm.
they do it in a way that's non intrusive, non obstructive. You can look at them and enjoy them for exactly what they are.
Hmm.
The gameplay is surprisingly deep. Like, I expected a really shallow strategy game and got Lord of the Rings. The book
Hmm.
said at the beginning, like, this is the closest you're ever going to get to playing in a movie, and I laughed, and then I played it and went, this is the closest I'm ever going to get to playing in a movie. And you could have done the whole thing in text, and I still would have had that experience.
Hmm.
Like, you could have
Yeah.
taken the graphics completely out of it, and I just the mechanics, and I would have had the same experience.
Hmm.
So yes, the shock value probably takes it from like an 8 or 9 up to a 10 for us, but I also think that game holds up on its own. I think
I
it'll be
totally agree.
interesting. We should bring this up again in a year and see if we still have that feeling.
Hmm.
Um, because we'll probably play it a couple more times between now and then just to like refresh ourselves.
Hmm.
Um, but I mean, the thing like nostalgia can bite you too. Jagged Alliance, um, Master of Orion 2, MechWarrior 2 to some extent. I mean, how much did nostalgia bite you on MechWarrior 2?
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was a game I spent a lot of time on. Like I had a mech that I loved to play, and I thought it was so great. And then I went back and played it, and it just seemed flat, and the controls didn't stand up. Just that's more of a because it was in that weird time between modern and
Hmm.
old control schemes. Uh, so it didn't hold up. I spent so much time on the controls trying to make those work the way I wanted them to work, and it just never did. So yeah, definitely a disappointment
I can
there.
say, like, I feel like any decade between X1 and X4, so 81 to 84, 91 to 94, probably 2001 to 2004, when we're having these revolutions in game design concepts, Every game we pull out of there is going to be a hit or a failure, and there's
Mhm.
not going to be any in between. It's either going to fail to live up to our nostalgia or be one of those things where they were trying something and now that we know how to do it right, it just highlights how wrong they got it, where we
Mhm.
might have toughed through it before. Um,
Yeah, there's a lot of evolutionary dead ends in that uh, very late '80s, very early '90s
yeah.
video gaming time.
Yeah, the early 3D stuff was really rough because I mean, people talk about how the graphics themselves were bad because it was, you had 5 polygons you could use for to do a whole character.
Mhm.
Um, but we forget that not only were we inventing new ways to display these things, we were inventing new control schemes because now we're actually moving around a legit 3D space.
Mhm.
And one of the things I want to get to, and I don't have it on our list for this year, is Ultima Underworld, the first WASD game.
Right.
Until Ultima Underworld, there wasn't WASD. When I played Wolfenstein 3D for the first time, it was arrow keys, Control, Alt, and Shift.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
and we played Duke that way for a long time.
Yep. Do you remember Descent? Do
I
you remember
remember
that game?
Descent. I almost put Descent on our list this year. Um,
That was some shit. Like I that game could get you lost like nothing else.
hmm
It was it was quite amazing. It was so much fun to play that multiplayer because you
Yeah,
could find yourself like coming in on someone when they didn't expect it. That was
right.
a great
That was a great game. I'm looking forward to eventually getting to that,
yeah.
along with Terminal Velocity.
Yes, Terminal Velocity was awesome. I loved that game.
But yeah, that like 1993, 94, 95, there was a bunch of games that came out that were trying new things, and
Hmm.
some of them did great, and some of them did really bad. And if you look at the games we got kind of coming out today in the late, 2017, 2018, 2016 from our AAA companies, they're in a formula mode. Like the first, it seems I should go back and actually like structure out how long each innovative revolution hits. But part of why we're getting sick of AAA games is they are in formula mode. Somebody's got
Hmm.
to start doing some things that cause some new revolution of something that happens. And I think that's why everybody's quick to latch on to VR or some new, anything's going to be the thing that knocks us out of this because we need something to spark another round of revolution and another round of just trying new things. I don't know that it's coming this time. Um,
Well, also it seems like the cycle of those things becoming tropes is kind of accelerated. Like, PUBG just released and there's already so many battle royale games out.
yeah.
It's like so now that's going to be done to death a month after PUBG has launched.
Well,
It's just crazy.
right, but I mean, we went through a trope of how many Nazi games were there in the early 2000s.
Mhm.
By the mid 2000s, every game was a World War II Nazi simulator, and then they started doing some other things. And
I don't think Nazi Simulator is what you were looking for there.
Nazi killing simulator,
Yep, that's
uh,
better. Much better.
much better. Yeah. Um,
But yeah, I get what you mean. And then they become done to death, and then they become retro. Like
right.
they release a new Wolfenstein game,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, you get to kill Nazis.
You
Like,
get to kill Nazis, and you get to
yeah,
use the control scheme the way you used to. It's like,
okay,
thank you. It makes me
yeah.
wonder, like, why did we go through all the other stuff to get here? Um, but the reason why I don't think we're going to see that this time is we don't have a graphical revolution to go along with it.
Mhm.
But you brought up PUBG, and I was thinking about that this morning. PlayerUnknown Battleground. This is a perfect example of, like, I hear things like one of the new Tomb Raiders isn't a success because it only sold like 4 million copies instead of 7 million. I'd have to look up the numbers. But basically, it sold millions and millions of copies, and they're like, oh, we put too much money in that. That's not really enough to make it worth doing games. If you listen to EA and Activision, it's not worth making games anymore because it takes so much money and effort to make a game. And then you look at PUBG. which is probably the most selling game, if not ever, very close, definitely fastest, has the most
Hmm.
people playing it on Steam. It's done by a little independent company. It's basically a mod of another game.
Hmm.
Um, and it high and the graphics are not spectacular. They're good. They're competent, but it's gameplay. Gameplay will always win. And while we like new graphics and we would like to see graphics keep getting better, the big companies need to take a break and take a deep breath and go back and focus on gameplay and stop trying to sell us loot boxes and just get us a good game and we'll come back. But in the meantime, I'm going to tell you, go back and look at old games that most people consider were good. Anything on this screen right now,
Hmm.
go try it. Uh,
It's how the games make you feel. I think that's what's missing. So like when they came out with Assassin's Creed, right?
mhm.
You felt like a badass because you're doing all this parkour shit and you're assassinating people, blah, 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 blah,
Yeah,
blah, blah. And then they just beat you over the head with it. And like PUBG makes you feel more than
right.
any other game that I can think of in recent time.
Yeah. One of the comments we got about MechWarrior 2 uh, um, was it has more heart than MechWarrior 3.
Hmm.
That's how one of the people kind of looks back and their defense of why MechWarrior 2 is the better MechWarrior game is it has more heart. It's more in the universe and it's more trying to evoke that feel. And even though it has less graphics and the controls are kind of clunky, it's doing it with a soul that the other game doesn't have. And
It's gritty. It's
it,
definitely gritty. And it wasn't a bad game. I think for me, just the biggest problem was I couldn't get the controls the way I needed them to
no,
be. And that's not its fault. Like, because when we played it in the 90s, it was fine
yes.
control wise. Like, it all just worked.
Well,
So,
because the controls we were using were designed to be used with computers from the 90s, which were all sort of met together. Um,
mhm.
I've wanted to add to our list a couple games like Wolfenstein 3D, Duke 3D, Doom. I can't play them anymore because I get motion sickness on modern computers.
Mhm.
I don't get motion sickness when I'm playing Elite. I don't get motion sickness when I'm playing uh, the new Shadow Warrior. I don't get motion
Mhm.
sickness when I'm playing Tomb Raider. This has something to do with the resolution and the style and everything like that. I'm actually going to pick myself up an old 486 or Pentium laptop and try playing these games on them because you can get those like $35 right now and see
Mhm.
if it is that kind of problem and see if we can get these games on our list because otherwise it is. And that's what you're talking about the tech itself handled differently back then.
Mhm.
And I don't know. I don't know.
Dude, if we play Descent, you're gonna be barfing into a trash can because that game made me sick on a 486
Right?
back in the day.
Well, and I don't know when this started. I never had it before. It was when we went back to try Duke again that I'm like,
Mhm.
I'm getting headaches. Like,
Maybe are we? We're not getting old, are we?
no.
It
That
couldn't
doesn't
be
sound
that.
right.
It's
Anything
the
but that.
computers that are
It's
the
the
problem.
computers are the problem.
Clearly, we're great.
Clearly, we're great.
We're golden, yeah.
Um, yeah. I feel like we should mention our two discussions with Mark and Chris one more time
Hmm.
because I love them.
Great people.
Great
Great.
people.
It was really fun to talk to them, and
Could have talked to them all day. Wish I had like another 8 hours with each. Especially like digging into like Mark. I could talk shop and I really want to dig into Nox Arceus and I hope when he kickstarts it again we'll come back and we'll talk some more. Um,
yeah,
anyway, because
definitely watch for Nox Arceus.
watch for Nox Arceus. That's going to be a great game. Chris, finding out like when I first pulled him up, I thought he was like some guy who was just really into the community, who had done the remake and like that was his sole thing in video games. Then we're talking to him a little bit after the review and finding out, no, he's been doing a lot of gaming stuff over on that side and worked with a bunch of companies and a bunch of people and I want like okay, well we needed to do that part too.
Right.
So I'm hoping someday we'll get back and do some more conversations with them.
Yeah, I'd love to talk to both
Yeah,
those dudes again because that was a lot of fun.
it was a lot of fun. My other wish list for people to talk to is the Doherty brothers for Questron.
That would be awesome.
And oh, what's
Huge
her
fan.
name? What's her name from Stronghold?
Oh,
Catherine.
Catherine. Yeah.
Catherine. I would love to talk to Catherine.
Too. We're linked in.
We're LinkedIn. Just keep pegging her. You're like, hey,
Yeah.
what's up?
Please.
Please come talk to us on our little 92 subscriber show.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I just had such a fun with those. So
It's probably because I think in the quest or in the stronghold conversation, I said that she's probably dead.
you think that's what did it?
I think I think if she saw that, she'd probably be like, "Not
No.
professional."
I, I think if she saw
Sorry,
any of this,
Catherine.
she'd be like unprofessional. I don't think that was the moment where she went,
Right. That might have been the straw that broke the camel's
these
back.
guys are so professional. Oh, never mind.
Good point.
I'm hoping everybody's having fun with these. We're having fun making them.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
It's cool to just like focus on something for a month because you could bounce around playing old games and like never get anywhere and just try so many, but
hmm
dedicating yourself to them for a month or maybe longer, like we're still kicking that around.
yeah, if we hit a game, like when we hit Death Lord, we don't have that listed this year. We don't have that coming up. I'm going to give a quick rundown of we're going to attempt. And again, this is in no particular order, and we might change it, but on the docket is King's Quest, Carmageddon, Bard's Tale, Stunt Island, Alone in the Dark 2, Ultimate 1, Magic Carpet, Enigma Force, another ZX Spectrum game, Rings of Zilfin, which
Oh
I'm
yeah,
really looking forward to,
me too.
Project Firestart,
Okay.
X-Wing, and then Hala Volta and Biles Toad for our December.
Yes, I've been waiting to play Conan Halls of Volta
I
for
want to
years. I
I want to
love
play
that game.
that.
Mm.
Biles Toad is supposedly the original influence for Die by the Sword.
Ooh, that's a good
So
list.
yeah, it's a solid list. Uh, Over half of those are requests.
Hmm.
Um, and you'll notice they're not all CRPGs. Please do not think we are only CRPGs. I love them. They're my personal fave. Strategy right under it. Simulators under that. Action under that. But they're all. I, I don't have a game I won't play.
Hmm. Except Jagged Alliance.
Except Jagged Alliance. Yeah, I mean, please don't give me. I mean, there's
Hmm.
as long as it's not too bad. Like Jagged Alliance was just constant. It was
Hmm.
so bad. At a time when they should know better. Like when I see something like Chris touched on this in his interview, where he was talking about how they had to make some changes for the novel because stuff in 1984 where there were just no women,
Hmm.
they just weren't there. That they need to kind of bring them in and um, bring them up. And it's that sort of awareness. Like in 1984, I'm not going to hold that against you too much. In
Hmm.
1994, I'm holding that against you.
Hmm.
You knew better. That was not, you know, okay. So it's never okay, but if we go far enough back, I can go product of its time. If I
Hmm.
can't do that, then it's really going to bother me.
Right.
So I'm also wondering if we will ever do the Leisure Suit Larrys.
Yeah, that's a good question. Those are they're so campy
Right. I mean, I remember
and
playing the
like
first one and being surprised how both sexist and not sexist it is. Like
hmm,
Larry's the joke.
right, right.
Like
He's not held up
no, he's the
to
Homer
be.
Simpson. He's not who you're trying to be. He's not a bad guy. You can sympathize with him, but he's not
Right.
the
He's a
great.
dirtbag,
He's
and
a
like
dirtbag.
that's the joke.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just has no respect for women and stuff like that.
Hmm.
It's not that having no respect for women is the joke. It's that someone who does it is the joke. It makes it kind of okay, but I don't know.
Not really.
Not
And
really.
then there's the whole other goddesses of Phobos 1 and 2, which
Yeah, I don't know. I
Yeah,
we
we'll
might
cross that
yeah, we'll cross that when we get there.
bridge when we come to it.
You and I may have a talk and play them outside of the run and see if we can do it. Once again, suggestions, comments, requests. If there's something,
Threats.
even threats, I'd rather not have threats. I guess
I'm
direct your threats to
I'm
Matt.
pretty bored. Yeah, so go ahead, bring it.
Bring it. Great, thanks, Matt.
Yeah, post my address. I don't lock my doors. Come on.
Um, yeah, comment, play along, and I don't know. I'm kind of out of things to say this year, so
Yeah, yeah. Just it was a good year. Thank you, everyone,
yeah.
and that's all I got.
All right, happy New Year, everyone. Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, one more thing. One more thing.
Oh,
How did I forget? I'm pulling back, so I'll have to edit these two bits together now because
oh, God damn it!
I stopped recording and then I started
Fuck.
recording
You're
because
wasting everyone's time. Go
wasting
ahead.
everyone's time. But dude, what are we playing next? What are we playing next?
Oh, we're playing King's
We're
Quest.
playing King's Quest. We're playing.
Is it up?
It's up now. It's up now.
Oh God, look at that cover, everyone.
That's gorgeous. It's a little grainy on this import, I think, but it's also a little small on my editor here. So that is
Yeah.
those are some tight pants on that dude.
Nothing small about that guy's package. It
We just got done talking about sexist stuff like, look at the junk on that guy.
it's there, man. It's not apologizing.
No, I get the hair is also fantastic, by the way. That guy's
Yeah.
swoop back duck coif thing.
It's
So 80s.
gorgeous hair. It's like Mel
So
Gibson
80s.
hair
Yeah.
when his hair was at its peak
Yep.
around barbed or what was it? Bird on a Wire time,
Bird on a
I
Wire,
think,
yeah.
or maybe even Lethal Weapon was I think when
Yeah.
his hair ascended.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's off topic. But
Uh,
yeah, King's
Next,
Quest.
King's Quest next month. Almost forgot because we've been going so long here. All right, let's try this again. Thanks everybody for watching. Let's play some King's
Thank you.
Quest. See you in a month. Bye.
Bye.
Well, they're Manowar headphones.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
Razer Manowar.
Yeah, and if you can't trust Manowar with your hair, who can you trust?
I trust Manowar with everything, man.
Oh yeah, they're Kings of Metal, man.
Kings of Metal.